Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamanatira Vanakade Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pati Radhikacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Shrimati's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pati Radhikacharya Ashtotara Shatashi Shrimati's Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sekaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Yamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Govardhan Dham Ki Jai All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to the simple devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this morning we were reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, entitled Creation of the Fourth Order. Chapter 30, the activities of the Prachetas. We're on text 37. Everybody could please repeat after me. Tesham Vicharitam Padbyam Tirtanam Pavanechaya Bitasya kim na rocheta tavakanam samagamaha tesham vicharitam padbyam tirtanam pavanechaya Vitasya kimna rocheta tavakanam samagamaha tesham vicharitam padbyam tirtanam pavanechaya Vitasya kimna rocheta tavakanam samagamaha tesham vicharitam padbyam tirtanam pavanechaya Vitasya kimna rocheta tavakanam samagamaha Word by word. Desham, of them. Vicharitam, who travel. Padbyam, by their feet. Tirtanam, the holy places. Pavana Ichaya, with a desire to purify. Vitasya, to the materialistic person who is always fearful. Kim, why? Na, not. Rocheta, becomes pleasing. Tavakanam, of your devotees. Samagamaha, meeting. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Dear Lord, your personal associates, devotees, wander all over the world to purify even the holy places of pilgrimage. Is not such activity pleasing to those who are actually afraid of material existence? Purport. There are two kinds of devotees. One is called Goshnanandi, and the other is called Bhajananandi. The word Bhajananandi refers to the devotee who does not move, but remains in one place. Such a devotee is always engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. He chants the Maha Mantra as taught by many acharyas, and sometimes goes out for preaching work. The Goshnanandi is one who desires to increase the number of devotees all over the world. He travels all over the world just to purify the world and the people resided in it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advised, Pritiviti yache yati nagaradi gram sarvatra prachar hoibe moranam. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted his followers to move all over the world, to preach in every town and village. In the Chaitanya Sampradaya, those who strictly follow the principles of Lord Chaitanya must travel all over the world to preach the message of Lord Chaitanya which is the same as preaching the words of Krishna, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. The more the devotees preach the principles of Krishna Katha, the more people throughout the world will benefit. Devotees like the great sage Narada, who travel all over to preach, are called Gosht Anandi. Narada Muni is always wandering throughout the universe just to create different types of devotees. Narada even made a hunter a devotee. He also made Dhruva Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj devotees. Actually, all devotees are indebted to the great sage Narada, for he has wandered both in heaven and in hell. A devotee of the Lord is not even afraid of hell. He goes to preach the glories of the Lord everywhere, even in hell, because there's no distinction between heaven and hell for a devotee. Narayana parar sarve nakutashtana bibyati swarga pavarga nare keshwapi tulyarta darshana. A pure devotee of Narayan is never afraid of going anywhere and everywhere. For him, heaven and hell are one and the same. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 17, Text 28. Such devotees, wandering all over the world, deliver those who are actually afraid of this material existence. Some people are already disgusted with material existence, being confused and frustrated by material enjoyment. And some people who are intelligent are interested in understanding the Supreme Lord. Both may take advantage of the pure devotee who wanders throughout the world. When a pure devotee goes to a place of pilgrimage, he desires to purify that holy place of pilgrimage. Many sinful men bathe in the holy waters of the places of pilgrimage. They take their baths in the waters of the Ganges and Yamuna at places such as Prayag, Vrindavan, and Mathura. In this way, the sinful men are purified, but their sinful actions and reactions remain at the holy places of pilgrimage. When a devotee comes to take his bath at those places of pilgrimage, the sinful reaction left by the sinful men are neutralized by the devotee. Tirti kurvanti tirtani swanta stena gadabrita. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 13, Text 10. Because the devotee always carries the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, wherever he goes becomes a place of pilgrimage, a holy place for understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is therefore the duty of everyone to associate with a pure devotee and thus attain freedom from material contamination. Everyone should take advantage of the wandering devotees, whose only business is to deliver conditioned souls from the clutches of Maya. Om Agyanativedandasya Kananjana Shalakaya Chakshulanmaditamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karitavachalam Pangam Langai Tegirim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinitaranam Pancha Kapadribhisha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gauda Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Hare. Can I read the translation again? Dear Lord, your personal associates, devotees, wander all over the world to purify even the holy places of pilgrimage. Is not such activity pleasing to those who are actually afraid of material existence? So sometimes while talking with people, different people, people have this idea that, the religious people or the spiritual people, or why don't they just leave us alone? Let they do their thing. They could chant, they could pray, they could do whatever they do, read their holy books, their scriptures, and go to their places of worship, but why do they have to proselytize out there? Why do they have to go out and preach, right? Why do they do that? Sometimes you hear that. Within certain certain religions or within certain groups, religious groups, spiritual groups. Yeah, some are not so keen or not so enthusiastic or not so, it's not so much part of their program to go out and try to bring people. Of course, we have some, like Jehovah's Witnesses, I think Jehovah's Witnesses, yeah. They're very active. You go everywhere. They're at the airport right now, probably, as we're speaking. They have a little table there. Of course, somehow or other, it's in a particular part of the airport where it's a zone, zoned for free speech or whatever, religious preaching or something. And people walk by, and they're at all the colleges we go to. They're there before us. They're there down in Pacific Beach quite often. And of course you have the Latter-day Saints, or the Mormons as they're known. They're also going door to door knocking with specifically the elders, women and men, which is actually a pretty good system they have. Practically speaking, unless the parents and the children, if the children really follow their parents, and their parents are, strict Mormons followers, then yeah, automatically that means their sons and daughters will spend 2 years, I believe it, yeah, I think it's 2 years out preaching. So they all, once they hit a particular age, I think it's after high school, before they go to college, I believe, they're young, 20s. They pick a particular place in the world. If you go to this Mormon church up the street here by Faneuil, if you walk into their lobby, they just don't have a map of San Diego. They have a map of the world. And they have what it calls pins. Yeah, what do you call it? Anyways, pins. And there's a pin in whatever, Australia, there's a pin in India, there's a pin here, there, all over. And they have pictures of local boys, local girls, from the local church here in San Diego, that, yeah, so-and-so, they're out in Thailand, and they learn the language. They also teach them the language. They just don't send them there as English speakers. They actually teach them the language of the particular place. So, and that's in all the churches, not just one church. Not like one church is enthusiastic and they all are kind of sleeping or something. Every church is like that. So every church has women and men, young, who spend for 2 years. I mean, some of them are sent more local places, like United States. Like one time we were out on book distribution in Chula Vista, going door to door, and we knocked on somebody's door, and these men answer the door, elders, Mormons, young men. So devotees are distributing books, and we look. I was there. We look in their apartment, and there's all these pictures of Jesus Christ, and there's a few of them living there as roommates, 4 of them. And yeah, they bought a Bhagavad Gita. Took a Bhagavad Gita. They appreciate what we're doing. Generally, they're quite friendly, nice. But yeah, it's a good system. I mean, imagine that. Every single temple in America, not just America, of the world, they had not just 2 elders. They had many. Practically all their children are doing that. Imagine that. If they joined a brahmacharya ashram or brahmacharini ashram for 2 years, and specifically with the aim of going out and spreading God consciousness. So, but yeah, people are annoyed. The Mormons are at my door again. The Jehovah's Witnesses are at my door. Oh, the Hare Krishnas are at my door again. Of course, not everybody's annoyed, but these different groups are making progress. But some people are annoyed. Why can't you just leave me alone? You do your thing, I'll do my thing. I'll go to hell, and you do whatever you're doing. But the fact is that actually everybody, and unless they're, anyway, practically speaking, everybody, they stand for something. They have certain beliefs. They have certain convictions. And generally, whether it's on a big level or a small level, they share their beliefs. They share their convictions. They share what they stand for. They do this all the time. You have vegan activists. They're not just vegans. They're activists. They're sharing what they stand for. They have certain beliefs. We used to have an anyways. And they could be very intense about it. I mean, one girl, she went on this retreat with us. There's many people, men, women, but there was a retreat up to Long Beach to visit Tukaram's Long Beach program there. And she's an activist, and she went to jail many times for being very intense, you know. I'm not exactly sure the details what she did, but Alex knows. But so you have those activists. You have political activists, right? You have communist parties. You have all types of people. And as Srila Prabhupada said, communism it's not that communists, they sent their books to Bengal. And from their books, you know, people started getting all these ideas. They started forming parties, and that's still going on, you know, in West Bengal and other places in the world. So, so whether it's on a small level or on a big level, you know, it's friends or few family, or, you know, we get on Facebook or Instagram or some other social media platform. We kind of we try to share what we believe, what we have conviction in, as something that will help us, right? Like even this guy that there was taking a walk and up the hill here, trying to. So this guy, he was wearing a T-shirt, a black T-shirt, and it said, "Tequila helps." Big, you know. It wasn't like a small little. It was big, like you can't miss it, you know. Huge. Tequila helps. So that's his belief. That's his conviction. That's what he stands for. Of course, it may sound, it sounds kind of funny or kind of, but many of those people, they take it seriously. You know, like these people go to the bars. They're taking it seriously, you know, as a ritual. Something that actually helps. And people have all different types of ideas about this. So this guy, he's preaching, tequila helps. That's his form of preaching. That's his Sankirtan, right? So in other words, everybody they're like planting seeds within people's minds. They're planting seeds through their conversations, through their preaching, through their sharing of what they have conviction in. So what's the problem with religious people or spiritual people sharing, being active and trying to plant seeds, trying to plant ideas within people's minds? What's the problem with that? And if we extend it to which spiritually minded people should, Mamaya Vangsho Jivaloke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, that everyone is part and parcels of God, everyone's part and parcels of Krishna, then everyone is intimately connected. Spiritual family. So if we see some of our family, I mean, if some of our families having difficulty or suffering or in pain or in misery or whatever, we try to help them. It's not like, oh, okay. Anyways, just I don't really like that guy. Anyways, that's another problem. One of the stumbling blocks to preaching is not liking people. Prabhupada was so great at such a wonderful preacher, such the best preacher, because he, right, as devotees quote often, why did everybody like you so much, Prabhupada? Or why does everybody love you so much, Prabhupada? Oh, because I love everybody. So, but if we can see people, okay, hey, these people, they're not just like just random people or something, but actually family, they're long lost, then we'd be inclined, okay, hey, let me try to help this person. Let me plant some seeds. So there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually, it's the most right thing to do, actually. And how do devotees do that? We say, okay, we got our friends, we got our family, right? Devotees who work, the co-workers and so on. We're trying to extend. Oh, hey, did you hear about Krishna? Did you hear about Krishna consciousness? Oh, here, take a book. These are all planting seeds. And then we extend it, okay, think about, like Prabhupada says, every town and village. So traveling and here, there, all over, trying to spread the message of Krishna. So this is something that Srila Prabhupada wanted devotees to do. And interesting here is that Prabhupada says, he's talking about the Bhajananandi and the Gosht Anandi, and he says that the Bhajananandi, doesn't move, stays in one place. Funny how Prabhupada says, right? He doesn't move, but remains in one place. So he's engaged in devotional service, chanting the holy names, as taught by the Acharyas, and sometimes he goes out for preaching work. It's interesting because a lot of the times when devotees think about Bhajanandi, they think, oh, Gorkashodas Babaji is just, or thinking about some Babajis in Vrindavan who are just completely focused on the holy name, and yeah, that's the main focus. But Prabhupada says here is that sometimes they go out and preach. Sometimes goes out for preaching work, and just like Haridas Thakur, I mean, he was chanting so many rounds, 192, or chanting a lot of rounds, and think about it. Of course, he was eating very little, sleeping very little, but he was also going out to preach. And then you have the Gosht Anandi, those who desire to increase the number of devotees all over the world. So this prediction of Lord Chaitanya, Prithiviti Achayate Nagar Adi Gram Sarvatra Prachar Hoibe Moranam, that in every town and village my name will be chanted, Lord Chaitanya's saying. So how is that supposed to manifest? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has arranged that the devotees, that's their service. That's their service. Every town and village to spread the name of Krishna. So we could take that as our service, and we should take responsibility. I mean, we should take responsibility. The essential in life, soy sauce. Take responsibility, because it's very important to take responsibility, actually. They have a saying, right? Ownership turns sand into gold. So, it's Krishna's van, so yeah, it's not my van, or it's the temple's van, and it's not really my van, so I'm not really going to take care of it so much. But once somebody owns something, they're kind of really taking care of it, making sure everything's right. But they have right. Sometimes devotees write in their books, in the care of Balarama Dasa, in the care of Krishna Dasa. So Krishna gives us things to take care of. It's not that it's just, it's Krishna's and he'll take care of it, but he gives us things to take care of, like the temple. We have to take care of it, but also like the preaching mission. It's not somebody else will do it. The senior devotees will do it, which, by the way, a lot of them, materially speaking, they're not getting younger. Most of them are slowing down heavily. Of course, I don't want to say, there's obviously a lot of them, Jayapataka Swami, for example, you can't keep him stop moving. But yeah, people are, health issues. They can't travel as much as they want to, and so on. So it's a time where, and actually at all times, devotees should take responsibility. Okay, let me take responsibility. I'm not going to just depend on others to take care of it. Let me try to take care of it. So in other words, we should like these activists, these vegan activists, these communist all these different types of groups. They really take it seriously, and they take it as their responsibility. They take it as their mission in life. It's not like, okay, hey, well, I'm kind of like I'm kind of following, the leader, and I'll let them do it all. But a lot of them, of course, some people are like that, but a lot of them, they really take the mission, very seriously. So we should try to do that, and know that it's the most important thing to do. And you have such great examples like Narada Muni. He's preaching to the hunter, right? Hunter became a devotee. What's his name? Mrigari. He would half kill animals, and then Narada Muni said, "Oh, this is really it's not a good thing to do. You should." Anyways, he got him to chant. I think, was it him that couldn't chant? Because that was Valmiki, yeah. So he got him to chant, Mr. Mrigari, and he became such a soft-hearted, gentle devotee that the next time Narada Muni came with one of his friends, sages, I'm forgetting the name, but he came, and this previous hunter, Mrigari, he became so advanced and so gentle that, there was ants on the path, so he was kind of moving the ants. He didn't want to hurt the ants. Before, he used to half-kill animals. It's quite a... So Narada Muni changed him, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, so many great devotees. Narada Muni, he has that Bhakti Shakti. So the devotees, they're not afraid of heaven or hell. They preach everywhere. They don't make a distinction. And they also don't make a distinction between people. I sent you a quote. Do you think you could? There's a very beautiful quote by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Kalyana Kalpataru, which I'll read now. So this devotee, Srimati Dasa, Prabhupada disciple, but very wonderful devotee, but she would give many classes in Vrindavan, and so it seems like she came up with this little mini seminar, it seemed. But the whole thing about prejudice. So she says, prejudice is a child born of ignorance. So prejudice is a child born of ignorance. So this is the quote from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. If by chance a living entity becomes averse to Sri Krishna, Maya Devi's duty is to voluntarily offer temptations of material happiness. Intoxicated by such illusory happiness, the living entity then forgets Krishna. So the living entity becomes averse, and then Maya offers temptations of material happiness, and then they become intoxicated by such illusionary happiness, and then they forget Krishna. And under the influence of such ignorance, egoistic selfishness arises. From such petty selfishness comes absorption and illusion, and from that develops angry grudges and envious hatred towards others. Alas, how wonderfully astonishing is it that the soul, although composed of transcendental energy, has accepted such difficulty and inconveniences by devoutly serving the temporary and material body in unlimited and various ways. So from this aversion towards Krishna, Maya, she said, okay, you don't want Krishna, then here, how about some material happiness? The soul goes after it, and they become intoxicated, they become illusioned, they forget Krishna, and then once they forget Krishna, they're under ignorance, egoistic selfishness, and from such a selfishness comes absorption in this illusion, more and more absorption in illusion, and from that develops angry grudges and envious hatred towards others. So Vaishnavas shouldn't have envious grudges towards others or hatred for others. And this is actually sometimes a problem. I mean, sometimes people, they stop coming to the temple for days, weeks, months, years, decades, lifetimes maybe. They stop coming to the temple. Why? Because someone wronged them, according to their conception. And maybe it was true. Maybe it was true. Maybe someone crossed the bounds. Maybe someone was angry, offensive, and so on, so on, so on. But Vaishnavas, they don't hold grudges. They don't hold hatred towards others. In other words, they forgive people, and they move on. And they come back to the temple. And they overcome it. They transcend it, right? All this, I mean, tolerant as a tree, as humble as a blade of grass. So, or else it's just, I mean, how can, I mean, I'm not saying that those persons aren't Vaishnavas, but it's, it's not a great program. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate. So we should try to see how we could transcend that. And he says, alas, how wonderfully astonished is that the soul, although composed of transcendental energy, becomes absorbed in these difficulties and inconveniences, devoutly serving the temporary material body in unlimited various ways. So all of this enviousness and hatred towards other, angry grudges, this is all in the category of illusion, born from illusion. But this is also a problem that that may inhibit preaching work or the spreading of Krishna consciousness. Like I said, if we don't like people, then I mean people pick up on that. Hey, this person, you know, this person's preaching to me, but he doesn't like me. What? Yes, surrender to Krishna, surrender to God, and you should chant Hare Krishna, and you should be happy, and you're not this body. But I'm seeing you as a body and particular race, right? And I am, I actually don't like you because this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason. I mean, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Of course, nowadays I understand in many philosophical-minded persons and religious-minded persons and so on, they feel that people are oversensitive, which I could see there's truth to that. You know, there's racism, there's ageism, there's religious prejudice, there's, I think it's xenophobic, and fear of strangers, there's classism, there's all these different types of isms, which practically translates as people being prejudiced towards others based on their belief system, on their age, on their race, and so on. So a devotee, a preacher, any devotee, Goshana Nandi, Bhajana Nandi, someone in the middle, whoever they are, any devotee, any practicing bhakti yoga practitioner, they transcend all this. They're not absorbed in any of this. This is because it's all nonsense. It's all material, right? Oh well, I don't like preaching to these people because they're a certain race or an age, right? Gender, sexism, gender, or religious prejudice. Oh well, I'm a, okay. We'll use a few examples to try to balance it out. But yes, I'm a Christian, right? And these people are a bunch of Hindus, a bunch of low class, mini God worshipping Hindus. Let them all go to hell. But also, yeah, so, oh, well, I'm a Hare Krishna. And, I have a very pure diet. And, right, not only it's pure diet, but it's all offered to God. Right? Just see how glorious I am. And I'm not going to preach to these other low-class people, whoever they are. Right? Let them all suffer. So all of these different ideas born of ignorance are meant to be given up. And you see, Srila Prabhupada, completely transcendental to all that. Completely transcendental. Like we mentioned the other day, Morning Star Ranch. I just read a little bit more about it last night from Leela and Rita. Prabhupada went there, and yeah, like I said, the guy was picking potatoes, all that. But Prabhupada went to lead a kirtan, and somebody was given remembrance. And Prabhupada led a kirtan and gave a talk. And the person who was given remembrance was saying, yeah, some people were nude and some people weren't. But the guy was saying, Prabhupada wasn't looking at our bodies. He was giving us the transcendental message of Krishna, what we needed. But yeah, racism, age. I mean, Prabhupada didn't consider any of this. Why? Because he understood Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prithaviti Achayata Nagarati Gram, it has to be spread everywhere. And if devotees are absorbed in all these mundane dualities and things like that, then how can it be spread everywhere? And Prabhupada was very much interested in getting locals, like when he went to Africa, for example. There's a lot of Indians in Africa. And Brahmananda Swami and others, when they went there, they were preaching to a lot of these Indians. And Prabhupada wasn't happy. He said, where's the locals? We want locals. And Prabhupada was kind of difficult to get and this and that. And Prabhupada said, no. He said, just rent a hall, have kirtan, open the doors, and people will fill up. People will come in. And sure enough, they did that. They rented a hall. They had loud kirtan. They opened the doors, and people just streamed in. Prabhupada went there, spoke, gave kirtan. They distributed prasadam. So it's a universal, universal message. Actually, I mean, people have hijacked that term, but actually, Krishna consciousness, universal message. So we should try to follow Prabhupada's lead, and if we're at all impeded, try to. So lastly, just Prabhupada went to Russia. He went there. He only spent 5 days there. 5 days. That's it, and he didn't go back. And in Russia, Srila Prabhupada met this person, Anatoly, who became Ananta Shantidas. Shamasundar first met him, brought him to Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada, he started to explain to him all of, Krishna consciousness. Shamasundar gave him his beads, gave him the Bhagavad Gita that Malati Devi hid in Shamasundar Prabhu's suitcase, which, by the way, when he was going through customs, the Russian officials, they saw the Bhagavad Gita, and he was just like, he said his mind was just exploding. He said he was just imagining going to imagining going to a, camp or something, concentration or whatever camp, gulag prison, But then the guy looked at it, and then aside from him looking at the Bhagavad Gita, a bunch of pictures fell out, like pictures of Prabhupada and Lord Chaitanya, and then he was, oh my God. So the guy, this Russian official, he wasn't happy about it. He looked at the Bhagavad Gita, he picked up the picture, he put him in, and he just gave him the Bhagavad Gita. He said, just leave, go, So anyways, they made it through. They were there for 5 days. And Shamasundar turned back to Prabhupada one day. There was a man in a black suit. And Shamasundar said, Prabhupada, is that a KGB? And Prabhupada said, yes. He said, we're very dangerous persons. They're following us. So he met Anatoly, and then, Prabhupada taught him, spoke with him many, many hours, taught him all about Krishna consciousness, and initiated him right there. Ananta Shanti Das. Taught him some cooking techniques. And Prabhupada also, towards the end there, when Prabhupada was leaving, Ananta Shanti said, Prabhupada, it will be much easier if I have a foreign wife, spread Krishna consciousness. Prabhupada said, wow, I'm thinking, that's a great idea, Prabhupada says. That is no problem, I shall send to you. There's a whole pastime of that. Prabhupada was thinking about who to, and then I think that some Mataji from London, and she went. But so the epilogue in Shyamasundar Prabhu's book here is very short. I'll just read that. Srila Prabhupada never heard from Professor Katowski again. Anatoly was initiated as Ananta Shanti Das, and from this tiny beginning, and despite jails, asylums, torture, even government-sponsored killings suffered by those he brought to Krishna consciousness, Ananta Shanti single-handedly created an underground, what is this word? Cadre? What is it? Cadre? It's C-A-D-A-R-E? Anyways. Cadre. Of Hare Krishna devotees that gradually spread, you get the idea, spread throughout the USSR. By the late 1970s, the KGB had set up a special directorate just to quash the Krishna movement. But the Soviet Empire collapsed almost exactly 20 years after Prabhupada's brief visit, as he predicted it would. Prabhupada saw a big parade and he said, oh, this will be gone in 20 years. Prabhupada never returned to Russia. He didn't have to. For him, 5 days was enough to radically change the consciousness of a great nation. I am the witness. So it may seem like, small, you pass out, distribute some books, or it may seem like a small thing, or you talk with somebody when they come to the temple, and so on, so on, so on. It may seem small, but it's not. And it does make a difference. So we should try to, in whatever way we can, assist in that. So, all right. Does anybody have any question? I think Mukunda's.
I have a question, Balaram Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes. 1 second. First, we'll have Mukunda Charna Prabhu.
Yes, I can wait.
Okay.
I was just wondering, in the purport,
I think I know what you're going to ask, but.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah. Well, the second to last paragraph, it was talking about how, so there these devotees, they wander all over the world, and then there will be some people who are already disgusted with material existence, or who are intelligent and therefore interested, and so basically there are some people who are prime candidates for. So they're disgusted with this world, they're frustrated with this world, and they're intelligent and they're interested, and so then it says, therefore then, because the devotee travels, then they can take advantage. So what about if they are disgusted with the material world, and they are interested, or they're intelligent, and they're frustrated, and they, why doesn't Krishna in the heart already direct them to a devotee, rather than the devotee having to travel and meet? If anyone who's prime could be guided within the heart,
direct them?
Anyone who is,
I thought you were going to ask something else. So, well, there is a Brahmanda Brahmatikon Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasaded by Bhakti Lata Bij, that the fortunate soul, by the mercy of Krishna, they come in contact with a bona fide spiritual master, and then by that bona fide spiritual master, the connection, they're linked to Krishna. So, I mean, it is explained like that, like Dhruva Maharaj, he was very sincere, very determined, very serious, and he went out to the forest, and then Narada Muni came. So he was directed, Narada Muni was directed to him. Or you have the, like, Ananta Shanti, he was there in Russia. I mean, Prabhupada was only there for 5 days. Yeah, he only spoke 2 days to him. So, and then he just happened to see Shyamasundar, and Shyamasundar brought him to Prabhupada. So that's there. But there's also this principle of, I mean, who's not, well, it says here, where did you read that again? Okay. Yeah. Being confused. Some people are already disgusted with material existence, being confused and frustrated by material enjoyment. Now, a lot of people, they're confused and frustrated. Most people, but confused and frustrated. In other words, they're in distress, whether they know it or not, whether they could realize it or not. But like the other day we were discussing, it's some people, they weren't necessarily in a super pious category. Like we were talking the other day about Bhakti, right? He became Prabhupada Das. I mean, he hated devotees. He really did. But it's through the association of sincere devotees that he had a change of heart. So part of spreading Krishna consciousness is not just to reach the super ripe, super ready people, but it's actually to try to cast out the net to as many people as possible, and to transform people's hearts that are not, they don't have a bunch of pious credits, maybe, it seems. You know, they might be really, as we would say, sinful. Just like Prabhupada says in Namam Dushkritina Mudha Prapadyante Naradama Maya Pratigana Asuram Bhavamashita. These are the four people who don't surrender to Krishna. There's four people who don't. Right? Their knowledge is stolen by illusion. Right? Prabhupada's a materialistic philosopher, scientist. The out-and-out atheists, the beast of burdens, the mudhas, work very hard like a donkey, enjoy material sense enjoyment. Maya Pratigana Asuram, that's out-and-out demons. They just don't surrender. Prabhupada says in the purport there, Naradama, lowest of mankind, that's enough, lowest of mankind, they don't surrender. Prabhupada says that 99.99% of the population is that Naradama. That's a lot. So then they say, oh, why we spend so much time preaching then? I mean, 99.9% is Naradama. I mean, no chance for them. I think we'll just pack up right now, right? Go to Vrindavan. Easier to be Krishna conscious over there, maybe. Depends. But Prabhupada says in there, he goes on to say that in the only chance for these people to revive their lost God consciousness is the mercy of a devotee. And he says, like Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda, Jaga and Madhya, they weren't thinking about surrendering to Krishna. So he saved them. So the representatives of Nityananda, or you could say the representatives of Nityananda, means we may not feel, okay, I'm a representative of Nityananda. Yeah, we shouldn't feel. I mean, we should feel ourselves very fallen and lowly, but we are servants of the representative of Nityananda Prabhu, Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master. We could try in our own little way to try to help revive these people's lost consciousness, God consciousness. So, yeah. Of course, when people are ripe, they're ready, they're pious, they're ready to go. But sometimes they're not, and therefore we have Harinam, we have Prasadam distribution, we have book distribution, we have, the mercy of the devotees to try to soften these people's heart, and then gradually they could. So, anyways, yes. Janjanandana Prabhu.
Was your question, why do the devotees have to go to them? Why doesn't Krishna arrange for them to? Was that the question?
Well, is it if they have some ability,
Right.
or some receptivity, then if the devotees went traveling around, would they still have a chance to just be attracted somewhere and go somewhere else if the devotees weren't going to pass through? Is it really just the devotee who travels through and meets them, or is it nothing? Is either the devotee or nothing? Or if the devotee doesn't pass through as an instrument, would they have a chance? Krishna guide them from the heart towards some boat, towards some place, towards some person?
It's funny, when you were asking the question, the first thought I had was, well, Krishna within the heart of the devotee is directing them to them. So that's Krishna's arrangement. But if a devotee, if someone has a sincere desire, then Krishna will make the arrangement, one way or another. But usually it's through devotees. But I got a book before I met devotees, but indirectly you could say, well, the devotee had put it in a bookstore or, like that. So Krishna, he will arrange. If the desire is there, he's more than eager to help. I read that some nectar about that devotee and Prabhupada in Russia yesterday. After 3 days, he had met with the professors, and he was disgusted. He was very disappointed.
Prabhupada.
Yeah, he was ready to get an early flight and get out of there. This is useless. But then when that boy came, and he planted the seed for spreading Krishna consciousness throughout the Soviet Union, then Shyamasundar woke up on the plane flight, the Aeroflot plane going to wherever, London or what have you. He had dozed off, but when he woke up and he looked at Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada was just beaming because he was so happy that Krishna had arranged that he could spread the message.
Yeah. Just like you, I mean, you told me, as far as I remember, that you took a bus from Iowa, right? Was it Iowa or Atlanta? You took a bus from Atlanta, and in your mind, don't mind, but in your mind, you're thinking of going to San Francisco, right? But you ended up in San Diego, and so and you're here now. You could have went somewhere else. But also, you went to Balboa Park. Now, of course, a lot of people go to Balboa Park. But, devotees are going out to Balboa Park. So, in other words, it's, I feel that a lot of devotees are being directed, here. So many, like Damodar Kumar Prabhu. He lives in Long Beach. He just comes down to Ocean Beach and, and then he just sees devotees on Harinam, and then he just happens to come here on the Janmashtami day, and then he never leaves. He came on Janmashtami, he spent the night, and he never left. So he could have joined L.A. or so many other temples, So Krishna's making arrangements. We need help here also. So, yeah.
Balaram Prabhu,
Yes.
are you going to...
Yes, please, ask.
Yes, Balaram Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. My question is related to the verse you chose for today, 4:30-37. And there's a quote in the translation that is inspiring me to ask my question, and the quote is as follows. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so quote, is not such activity pleasing to those who are actually afraid of material existence? End quote. This is the last sentence of the translation. Prabhu, as a brief introduction to my question, I need to say the following. The Bhaktivedanta purpose of Srila Prabhupada related to Bhagavad Gita as it is are giving to us the following information related to the purpose of the creation of material of the material creation.
Yes.
So Srila Prabhupada explains that the purpose for the creation of the material creation is that material creation is meant for reforming the conditioned souls in order to facilitate for them going back home, back to Godhead.
Yes.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if this is so, my question is as follows.
Okay.
How is it possible to get reformation in order to go back home, back to Godhead, in a place where we are afraid, where we are fearful? Because here in the translation I see those who are actually afraid of material existence. How is it possible to become reformed in order to go back home, back to Godhead, in a place where we are the whole time afraid?
Okay, sure, yeah. So pain. I mean, fear. I mean, to be fearful is not a very, very pleasurable experience. I mean, yeah, to really be fearful is not a pleasurable experience. It's painful. So, and there's so many painful things in this world that the living entity has to undergo. Part of it is being fearful. But pain is the impetus for change. So in other words, in our lives, if something's not working, right, and it's causing us pain, well, we change it. Hey, my diet's not working. All right, well, each time I drink orange juice, I get hives all over the side of my face, and then I have to, go to the doctor and swell. Oh, well, I better not drink orange juice anymore, right? Pain is impetus for change. So being fearful, being so many different things that cause pain, eventually, after being, kicked many times, a person says, "Oh, hey, well, I'm suffering here. Well, let me inquire. Who am I? Why am I here? This and that." So we become inquisitive. We should become inquisitive. And then we want a positive alternative, which Krishna consciousness, it completely eliminates fear and anxiety, all these terrible things. So yeah, we're here and we're meant to be reformed, but part of the reformation is Maya kicking us with so many different things, such as fear and blah, 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 blah. It kicks us. And then you say, okay, hey, well, then people, hopefully, they turn towards Krishna. So, anyways, that's a few.
Balaram Prabhu, thank you for your wonderful answer. And by the way, I'm coming from Portugal.
Hare Krishna. All right, Portugal.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai. Jai.